Hi, I'm Ziji Kaufman, Distance Aura Healer, and I do healings over the phone or Zoom, and my first session is free. And if you go to the top of the page of my website, which is aurahealingbyphone.com, you should be able to find the tab that explains the 3 simple steps to set up your free session. I personally am located in the southwest of the United States, but I can do the same exact healing on anyone and anywhere around the planet. You might think that aura healing has to do with these multicolors that surround the body as taken by these aura photographs that are very, very common these days and very exciting, beautiful images. But really, the truth is, these colors come from light waves coming down through the top of our head and spreading out like light going through a prism. So naturally, the light from the chakras spreads out and interacts with each other, and that's how you get these beautiful multicolors. The 7 different colors of the chakras intermingle. But why they don't intermingle the same way all the time, that's the secrets of the aura. Every layer of the aura has 12 chakras. In the literature, they usually talk about the front, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, or purple, or white, or lavender, light lavender in the front chakras. But there's actually back chakras in the second chakra, which is the sacral, which goes through the orange, goes through the belly. Then there's a back chakra that goes through the yellow area, the solar plexus area, solar plexus chakra. There's a back chakra that goes through the heart chakra as well, the 4th chakra, the green. Then the 5th chakra, the throat chakra, there's a back chakra as well. And then finally, there's a back chakra with the 3rd eye. And then you have the crown, which is just 1 chakra. And then you have the root, which is also just 1 chakra. But you have these same 12 chakras on all the layers of the aura, really. There's a lot of information in the literature, particularly the Hindu yogic literature on the chakras. I'm always a bit hesitant to adopt the kind of definitions that people put on each chakra, because when you get into these higher layers, it becomes so specific, that it's really has to be looked at specifically on what exactly is going on in that layer with that particular chakra and how it's impacting the physical aura, the organs and systems of the physical body. And it's really important to understand, and this is the basis of aura healing, that inside the body, every single physical internal organ and system has a corresponding energetic or auric organ and system. And that's really what I work on. That's what the body intelligence of my clients directs me to work on the underlying auric internal organ or system, because aura healing deals with really everything, all issues, all physical conditions, all emotional conditions, mental conditions, spiritual conditions. The aura is everything. And with that said, I would encourage you all, please take a look at my disclaimer, which is at the bottom of every single page of my website. By positioning key internal organs and systems, the divine creator focused that light such that it would create a layer, an energy layer, an auric layer around the body. And that's how we get the 7 layers of the aura. So the red light basically became the first layer because it's the root. And the divine creator, placed the legs, the longest part of the body. The femur bone has the most blood vessels of any other bone in the body, and it's very, very thick. So the red energy just stays right there, right where the first layer is, and surrounds the body with a red kind of energy. Then the divine creator placed the intestines and all the other organs in the orange light area. And that radiated out past that first layer, that red layer, and became where the divine creator centered our emotions. And you could see it in the image to the left. It's our emotional body where our emotions are stored. Then the divine creator placed such a really important internal organs and systems with the yellow light pretty much in the middle of the body. The liver and the pancreas and the gallbladder and the spleen, parts of the stomach and parts of the kidneys, the adrenal glands are all in that yellow section. And that created the third layer, expanding out past the second layer, past the emotional body, and became where we store our thoughts, our mental body, which is the third layer of the aura. Then the divine creator used the green light to house our hearts and our lungs and so many other great bone structures and muscle structures, obviously veins, arteries, nervous system, etc., etc. And all of that is fueled by the green light, and that goes out past where our thoughts are stored in the third layer. And now it creates the fourth layer, which I call the people layer, which is where we store our interactions with people. In the fifth layer, I call it the blueprint layer or the template layer of the aura. It's holding all this instructions for the body, for all the layers really underneath it, going right down to the internal organs and systems of the body. I also sometimes call the fifth layer the human container layer because it contains everything that's underneath it that's so vital to our lives, our emotions, our thoughts, etc., etc. And the fifth layer is connected to the blue light, which also, of course, houses all the important structures in the throat, the voice box, at the top of the esophagus, the thyroid gland, the cervical vertebrae, the muscles of the neck, etc., etc. Another purpose of the fifth layer is to protect us from the spirit planes. And the lower astral, which is the sixth layer of the aura, has some more of the darker energies, not necessarily evil, but just sort of darker energies. Now, as you can see in the image that I've created in the fifth layer, I have a brick kind of energy. And if the brick layer is not intact, those darker energies can get through. Because the lower astral plane may have dark spirits closer to that brick layer, closer to the fifth layer boundary, but it's actually a very expansive layer. There are actually spirits in the sixth layer that are relatively benign, and they could be our relatives, they could be, people we've known from a past life who are protecting us and guarding us. They may not be the most spiritual and the most enlightened and most ascended energetic beings, but they're not evil. So as I said, the lower astral plane is very expansive, and it goes from pretty dark spirits closer to the fifth layer, and it goes out to beings that, could have been somebody you were friends with or a relative. This sixth layer of the aura is connected to the purple light, which also houses the important structures in our brain. The pineal gland, the pituitary gland, obviously the brain itself, and all of the incredible neural connections that basically run the whole body. Now they talk about in the yogic literature how the third eye chakra, which is where the purple light is in the brain, can see actually out into the spirit plane. But the beautiful thing is that the fifth layer protects us, protects the body and all the layers underneath while we peer out into the spirit plane. And the structures in the third eye, the purple light area, allow us to peer out into the spirit plane and see those realms. Of course, the fifth layer allows the great energies from the seventh layer to come through. If your consciousness in your body, in your lower 5 layers, is high enough, then the seventh layer energies, the angelic energies, can come through that fifth layer barrier. The seventh layer of the aura, which is really I call it the upper astral plane, which again is a very expansive layer. At the lower dimensions of the upper astral plane, you have just really good angelic kind of people who just have incredibly big hearts, incredible compassion, and just naturally, effortlessly do good in the world. And then when they pass, they go to the upper astral plane, but they're not the most ascended, the most spiritual. So then I put in the image there the meditators who have achieved the opening of the chakras and have mastered many, many spiritual principles. And then beyond that, you start to get into the angel realm and the archangel realm. So anything's possible for us as human beings to aspire to become angelic and ascended and enlightened while on earth. And then when we pass, we'll go straight to the upper astral plane. And this seventh layer is connected to the white light. It's connected to the crown chakra. I call the fifth layer the human container level, but this is the auric container level. It contains all 7 layers of the aura. So it's connected to the top of the head, and that's where the light comes in, streams into the body, spreads out like a prism, and that's how the divine creator created this vessel, this incredible vehicle that we inhabit. It's sort of our task to learn how to master this vehicle. This is our gift and our journey.